The Beast and the Bethany by Meggitt-Phillips, Chapter 13, The Bucket List. Ebenezer did not bog off. He refused to move from his seat, and he defied Bethany by scooping some porridge into his bowl. Meanwhile, Bethany made herself a squashed muffin sandwich, a new dish that she had recently invented. She lay a blueberry muffin on top of a pan au raisin, bashed it into little pieces with her fists, and then put another pan au raisin on top. She picked the whole thing up, careful not to let any crumbs get away, and then she scoffed it all down in 3 greedy bites. It was quite a sight to see, and Ebenezer didn't know whether he should be impressed or appalled. As he looked at her, he realized that this was going to be the last day of her life. Tomorrow she would be nothing but a digested meal at the bottom of the beast's belly. "What are you looking at?" asked Bethany. "Sorry for staring," answered Ebenezer. "Can make you one if you like," she said, grabbing another 2 pan au raisin. "Which flavour do you prefer, blueberry or chocolate?" "Oh no, I'm fine, thanks." Bethany's face fell. She was disappointed. "Go on then, I'll try one," said Ebenezer. "Blueberry, please." Bethany's face jumped back into place. She unwrapped a muffin, beat it to death, then scattered the corpse between the 2 pan au raisin. There was a tinge of nervousness as she presented the finished product to Ebenezer. As soon as Ebenezer bit into it, he knew it was going to be nasty. There's a reason why muffins are not usually used as sandwich fillings. "What do you think?" asked Bethany hopefully. "It's delicious," he lied. "Really wonderful." "Great," Bethany beamed with joy. "I'll make you another one." "Oh, no, please no, I'm already stuffed." Bethany shrugged and returned to her own squashed muffin sandwich. She dipped it in one of the bowls of porridge to improve the flavour, and then immediately regretted the decision. As Ebenezer looked at Bethany and thought again about her impending death, he came to the conclusion that she was not an entirely horrible person. After all, there must be a smidgen of good in someone who is capable of sharing both their comics and their unusual sandwich recipes. "If this is to be the last day in Bethany's life," thought Ebenezer, "then I am going to make sure that it's a good one." "Do you have a bucket list?" he asked her. "I don't have any lists, and if I did, I wouldn't write them on a flipping bucket." "No, that's not what I meant. It's what you said. You should think about your words more carefully next time." Ebenezer went on to explain that a bucket list is a list which has nothing to do with buckets and everything to do with deaths. He explained that everyone has things which they want to do before they die, and that these things, when thought of or written down, make up a person's personal bucket list. "That's stupid," said Bethany. "It should be called a death list instead." "It's called what it's called because the first person who made one was a big fan of buckets. His one goal in life was to build the world's largest bucket, one which would be able to hold an entire mountain of rocks. And did he? Nope, and he didn't even come close. The one he made was barely large enough to hold a pebble. But you see, that's the thing with bucket lists. People rarely get to do everything that they want to do in life." Bethany wondered why Ebenezer was suddenly so interested in talking about death. She noticed that he looked a lot older than he had done the night before. "Are you about to die or something?" she asked. There was a hint of irritation in her voice, as if she thought Ebenezer was being selfish for choosing to die. "Gosh, no," said Ebenezer. Then he thought about it. "Well, actually, I suppose yes, I am. Right now, I'm currently on my way to dying of old age, but that's all to be fixed when the beast gives me the potion." "And when will that be?" "Tomorrow, I think. But anyway, enough about that. I want to know if there's anything on your bucket list." Bethany frowned with concentration. "I suppose there may be 1 or 2 things," she said. There were more than 1 or 2 things on Bethany's list, and Ebenezer tried to make sure that they got through as much of it as possible. A few of the things she wanted to do, such as riding to the moon in a helicopter made of jam, were not practical. However, there were plenty of things that they were able to tick off. The day began with a trip to Buckingham Palace. Bethany had heard that the Queen's Horse Guards, those red chaps with the silly big hats, never laugh in public, and she wanted to see whether this was true. She made Ebenezer stop to buy a joke book on the way, and then when they arrived outside the towering gate, she started to read from it. The horse guard on duty didn't crack so much as a smile, even when he was faced with some of the more hilarious ones like, "What do you call a magic dog?" "Alabracadabra." And "What do you call an elephant that doesn't matter?" "An irrelephant." And even, "Why did the golfer wear 2 pairs of pants? In case he got a hole in one." The complete absence of giggles disappointed Bethany. She felt that she couldn't she felt that she couldn't remove Buckingham Palace from her bucket list until she had made a horse guard laugh. Ebenezer saw this and decided to help. He started tickling the horse guard with his handkerchief. Still there was nothing. The horse guard was well trained and didn't make a sound, even when Ebenezer became more aggressively playful with his handkerchief. The tickling business was brought to an end by the arrival of Perkins, the Queen's chief under-butler. He informed Bethany and Ebenezer that the Queen was most unhappy with their behaviour, and that they were no longer welcome to talk to her horse guard. "Idiot," Bethany shouted at Ebenezer as they walked away. "Now I'll never be able to make one laugh." Bethany was so angry, in fact, that she bashed Ebenezer's bottom with the joke book. Ebenezer was unprepared for this. He promptly fell flat on his face. "Ho, ho, ho!" Bethany and Ebenezer looked behind them in surprise. Both of them could have sworn that the sound had come from the horse guard. But he gave no sign of having let out a laugh. His face was back to being stern and horse guard-like. "Do you think that counts?" asked Ebenezer. "Oh, yeah, that definitely came from him," said Bethany. Ebenezer and Bethany high-fived. They were about to leave, but decided to stay because they noticed that the Royal Marching Band were putting on a performance. The band marched from the doors of the palace, through the towering gates, and out into the public arena. They were playing a triumphant song to mark the half-birthday of the Queen's favourite corgi. Everything was going terribly well, and all the band members were looking very pleased with themselves. But then the performance came to an end after Bethany appeared to attack a member of the brass section. Perkins returned and removed Bethany from the band member. He handed her a note from the Queen which read, "Her Majesty formally requests that you cease lingering outside her residence. Henceforth, she would be most obliged if you would refrain from visiting all royal locations." "You what?" asked Bethany. "It means we need to bog off, Bethany," explained Ebenezer. Ebenezer and Bethany returned to the car and quickly zoomed away from the palace. Ebenezer took the opportunity to ask Bethany to explain what in the name of fudge cake she'd been thinking. "I was trying to get his trumpet," said Bethany. "His trumpet? Yeah, so I can shove it down the beast's throat. No one vomits smoke at me and gets away with it." "Please don't," said Ebenezer. "I'll remind you once more that I'm only able to stay alive because of the beast." Bethany made no promises to follow Ebenezer's instructions. During their ride back, they were able to tick off another 2 items from Bethany's bucket list. They pretended to be Russian whilst ordering from a drive-through restaurant, and they composed a song using nothing but the car horn. Ebenezer had prepared himself to have a thoroughly miserable day. He imagined that the task of going through Bethany's bucket list would be a boring one, filled with childish and uninteresting activities, and so he was surprised when he realized that he was having a wonderful time. He decided that if he ever had to feed another child to the beast, then he would definitely let the child have a bucket list day. "So what's next?" asked Ebenezer, excited for the next activity. "I think you know," said Bethany with a grin. Ebenezer paused to think about what delightfully wicked activity might be up Bethany's sleeve. "Are we going to make some prank calls?" he suggested. "No, but that's a brill idea. Let's add it to the list. What I want to do next is get a pet." "Bethany, there's no point getting a pet. You'll only be able to look after it for a day." "Why only a day?" Bethany was puzzled. "What's happening tomorrow?" Ebenezer thought quickly, wondering how he would be able to backtrack. It would really spoil the day if she found out that she was going to be eaten alive tomorrow. "I mean, you won't be able to keep a pet in the house without the beast eating it," said Ebenezer. "Remember, Lord Tibbles?" "I won't let it eat my pet," declared Bethany. "The beast will order me to bring it the pet, and I won't have a choice in the matter." "That's total rubbish," said Bethany. "You don't have to do everything the beast says." "I'm afraid I do. If not, I will die of old age. The beast has complete control over me." "Maybe it's better for you to die than live getting bossed around by that thing," she snapped. Then after about 5 seconds, she added, "Sorry, I didn't mean that." The mood had soured. All the jolliness of the day was slowly disappearing out of the car. "Don't worry about it," said Ebenezer. "I know it's hard to understand, but the beast and I, well, we need each other. Now, aside from the whole pet thing, is there anything else left on your list that we can do? I really, really want a pet, or at least to have a look at some animals. Can we go to a zoo or something?" "Unfortunately not, because I recently received a lifetime ban from the head zookeeper," said Ebenezer. "But I do have another idea."